Joe, let's talk about Channing Frye and who was actually in the deal here. As far as let's see me pop it back up here. I'm not ready for that. Okay. Channing Frye, we kind of talked about Channing Frye, and maybe this moves Kevin Love, or at least give somebody maybe off the bench. We don't know if Channing Frye is going to start, obviously, and probably he won't. But I would say it would allow them to do a really potent lineup of Kyrie or LeBron with Love and Frye. A little bit of a smaller lineup. Obviously, it is very reminiscent of what the Warriors do with when they move Draymond to center and they bring in Harrison Barnes and they bring in Livingston, kind of these big guards that can kind of move around. Obviously Draymond's not a guard, but he moves like a small forward, a very small lineup that they come out in. So it gives them an opportunity to really have some deadly lineups with Love kind of being more concentrated down low than on the perimeter. Orlando got Jerry Cunningham, which has become very popular, Cavaliers' future second-round pick, and then Portland picked up Anderson Varejao and the 2018 Cavaliers' first-round pick, which is top 10 protected, which
ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen. Well, it's a 2018, so maybe we don't know what goes on, what will happen by then, but probably not.
Was LeBron gonna leave this year?
Well, LeBron's getting old. I don't know if people have noticed yet, but LeBron he's got a lot of miles on those legs. But so Portland, they said, will probably cut Varejao. I wouldn't be surprised if Varejao came back to the Cavs, kind of like what they did with Zydrunas Ilgauskas a couple years back, where they traded to Washington, and then Washington cut him, and they came back. And a lot of people had some really complaints about how that kind of worked out. I think the league even looked at maybe changing the policy for that, but I don't know if they ever did. A lot of people was very upset about that. That was when they got, what was it, Antoine Jameson, right? Is that who they got back in that deal? Was Jameson that year? Yep. So they got Jameson and brought the guy back they traded. So that's a good bit of maneuvering.
Wasn't that great of a trade?
That's true. Jameson ended up not having a great time with Cleveland. He was solid, but just not what we thought it was going to be.
That was the same year that LeBron won in Amari.
Oh, that's true. And they wouldn't throw in Hickson, who ended up being terrible.
J.J. Hickson stopped that trade. Cleveland blamed J.J. Hickson for LeBron James leaving.
And funny thing is, we'll talk about some rumors about some of the deals that did get made, but there was a rumor that J.J. Hickson might have come back from he's playing in Denver now, that Cleveland wanted to bring him back. I don't know why, but he wanted to bring him back, which is really
to start this all over. Put another scapegoat just in case LeBron leaves this year.
to bring in J.J. Hickson. That's right. The whole city of Cleveland on J.J. Hickson's back.
Stop burning LeBron jerseys. Burn J.J.'s.
Yeah, it's all about J.J., man. You should be mad at him. Some of the other ones, I think that the Thunder getting Randy Foye is a great job. I think he's going to come off the bench and provide that spark. He's a scorer, man. I mean, he's never really been on a team that he had to start and do that with, and he won't continue here. But he's a guy kind of like a Jamal Crawford or someone like that comes off the bench and can score you 17 points really quick when he's on. J.R. Smith, he reminds me a lot of J.R. Smith. Maybe not, obviously the head case J.R. Smith is, but someone that can really score the basketball off the bench.
Well, not only that, but he's a good defender.
Yeah, he's he's above average. Yeah, no, most definitely. Mm-hmm.
And the thing about the Thunder is you have Robertson, and then you have Morrow. Robertson is a good defender. Morrow's a great shooter, and they come in off the bench. But now you get somebody like Foye that can control the ball, let Westbrook run around without the ball a little bit, and also a great shooter. You get two. You get a defender and a shooter and a ball handler all in one package.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of an underrated deal. It's not a sexy deal. None of these are very sexy deals. But I think you're looking at teams that someone like the Thunder that needed some punch off the bench. They don't need nothing else. And I think if you can grab it, and really they didn't give up much. I think they gave up DJ Augustine, which was he's a serviceable backup point guard. Steve Novak, which has been terrible there, which I thought would be better because of such a 3-point shooter. Then also the Nuggets get 2 second-round draft picks.
I thought Novak was dust by now.
It was what?
Dust.
Well, almost. Old. Yeah, he's getting old. He had that one huge season in New York, and like Jalen Rose said, then he got paid, and then he ain't done much since. Got to keep collecting them checks. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's going to be one of those in the playoffs that's going to match them up really well with Golden State. Allows them to play even
Yep.
a smaller lineup that they can match up a little bit better with. And I agree with Bill Simmons. I think OKC is probably the team that's going to push as far as athletically and what they can do and can keep up with them scoring wise. I think OKC can give them a run for the money.
These two trades we just talked about, Shannon Fry and Fourier, that's the main reason they were traded. That's the main reason they were there or happened because everybody needs to keep up with Golden State.
Right, and I kind of agree with Charles Barkley, and we'll talk about this obviously throughout the season. Because Golden State they just lost their fifth game this year to Damian to the Portland Damian Lillards. Um, they talked about that's right, video game Dame, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you said it right. They're trying to play more stretch four, smaller lineups. Lineups that can shoot all over the place, which is what LeBron likes because he likes the lane open. Kyrie will love that as well. Love will probably love it because he can go back down the post. But I kind of agree with Charles Barkley. Maybe you got to get a team, and I think this is where the Spurs come into play that can pound them and kind of pound them into submission. And you saw Cleveland win 2 games with LeBron just backing up to the basket, shooting a shot, and either Tristan Thompson or Mozgov getting rebounds. And as good as that small lineup is in that third quarter setup, I just don't know if that's the way you beat that team.
Here, with the bigs, when they bring in that small lineup, it stretches the floor. And with that being said, when it stretches the floor, I mean, you have an opening for your bigs to really take over a game. A team like San Antonio with LaMarcus Aldridge and even Kawhi Leonard, um, if they have that much spacing, they're gonna pound them down low. I mean, there's
Yeah, and I think that as good as Golden State is, they're still a small basketball. I love Draymond Green, but Draymond Green's
mm-hmm.
small, and Draymond Green's tough, and he's strong, and all that good stuff. But you put Aldridge or even Duncan at this point down low, and you just continue to feed him the ball, or you give him LeBron, who outweighs Draymond. Draymond's a big guy, but LeBron's bigger than Draymond Green is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And you do that the whole game. I'm not taking anything from Green, but at some point, somebody's got to figure out, hey, I'm just bigger than you, and I'm going to bully you, whether you're Draymond Green or whoever else you are.
Yeah, I mean, it weakens them on the defensive end, but it also weakens the other team on the defensive end too if they do go big. Because I mean, you have a Draymond, you have Tim Duncan pretty much essentially guarding the Draymond Green, or a Harrison Barnes.
And that's where the we kind of got off subject a little bit, but that's where the the chess match comes in. Who's going to blink first? And I really do believe that the Cavs, if they wouldn't blinked in Game 5 and went with that small lineup in the third quarter, that by the time the third quarter is, I went down like 14 or something, if I'm not mistaken. But they went away for their game plan. And look, Golden State is the best at that type of offense. You're not going to beat Golden State doing what Golden State does. So somebody's going to have to stick with it and just hope it at some point Steve Kerr panics and is like, well, we're going to have to go big. We don't like putting Bogut out there because we just basically put him on the 3-point line because nobody guards him, clogs the lane. But Cleveland had the right idea and they went away from it, and that's when that series went completely towards Golden State.
Yeah, you can't beat them at small ball.
Nope. And you got all these teams doing that, and I don't know if it's a good idea. I think there's somewhere in between where you can switch it up on them and not go. But as long as you have a lineup, and I think, Oklahoma City does, that they can meet. Oklahoma City matches up because they got bigs that can actually guard the perimeter.
Yes.
With Ibaka, you talked about Roberson, you talked about Adams. All those guys are good enough athletically that they can guard the perimeter pretty well. I'm not saying they'd beat them in a series, but it'd be a 6 or 7 game series. I think it'd be really entertaining. I hope we see it.
It could be really entertaining. I think if Serge shows up offensively, because he's a really good. I mean, he's a good shooter. He added that 3-point on back when the last Olympics or World Cup games, basketball World Cup was going on. He added that 3-point shot on. I mean, he's a small forward in those World Games when he's playing for his country. He's a small forward. He's not a power forward or a center. He's a small forward.
Right. I just think they match up really well. But like you said, a lot of these trades reflected trying to either mimic Golden State or some of the teams that may be able to beat Golden State, maybe give them a little bit closer. I think the Foy deal is really nice. I think the Fry deal is really nice. And as much as I love LeBron, you know, I think it's going to be a tough series. They're just, unless Golden State gets an injury or they just get wore down as the season goes along, I think Cleveland's the only team in the East that can beat them. Let's just be quite honest. I don't think Toronto can beat them. I don't think Miami can beat them. I don't think Boston can beat them. I think that because they have three big players that they can, Cleveland's the only team that can dictate the pace, where they want to run fast or they can play slow. I mean, they're pretty good in the half court as far as slowing down the offense. It's going to be interesting. None of these deals really are flashy, but I think it just gives each of those teams, especially someone like OKC and Cleveland, just a little bit more option, a little bit more flexibility with guys that can shoot the three and maybe defend a little bit better, rebound a little bit better off the bench. But that's really it. We got Markieff Morris to the Wizards. I just think that the Suns wanted rid of Morris. Morris is a good ball player. Good, he's a guy that can stretch the floor a little bit. He's a little bit of a head case. He's probably more of a head case than DeMarcus Cousins is, which is saying a lot. But that would be, that again, the Wizards want to run and have that philosophy, and that's a good chip to have. But
Well, we're going back one more time to the Fry deal. Going back to what we were saying, pounding Golden State inside. But if they did go third quarter small, they go small, that's going to let Draymond guard Kevin Love. And I'll take that matchup any day because Kevin Love offensively is probably better than Draymond on the defensive end of the court.
Well, he can do so much because you have to guard him out. I think he can drive past Draymond. Nothing against Draymond. Draymond's a great defender.
Oh, he is.
The way that the league is now, I think it's a very tough matchup. And I think excuse me, now I've said this before, and you've talked about if Cleveland would have had one more playmaker, like a Kyrie or a Love, that series I think would have been different. I think Cleveland would have took control after they took that 2-1 lead because they basically beat them with just LeBron. So I think it would have been a much better, a much different series. I still think Golden State, whether they won or not, that team just really likes playing with each other. They probably still would have done the same thing they did this year.
Look at Kyrie before 2 or 3 seasons ago. He's talking about his handles, his shooting, how he's the best point guard in the league. And he still is probably one of the best handlers and one of the best point guards in the league. But now everybody's talking about Steph.
And Kyrie's a very – he seems like I don't obviously, I don't hang out with Kyrie, at least not every day. But
I do.
Okay, he likes you better than me then.
Yeah.
Basically, well, you're bigger than I am. You're probably his muscle when he goes to the clubs. Basically, I think with Kyrie seems to be a guy that if you challenge him or if you say someone's better than him, Kyrie gets kind of angry about that. And we've seen guys where he goes one-on-one matchups with point guards where, they say, oh, well, that guy's better than you. And Kyrie goes off. And I think that's something Kyrie, once he gets – I still don't think he's completely healthy yet. I think he's still especially working in the basketball shape. But by the time the playoff goes, that's a guy that could be like a Westbrook or a Damian Lillard that all of a sudden he goes off for 50 and basically beats the team by himself.
And he can do it. He showed that last year.
Oh, most definitely. He's amazing. Yeah, when he gets going, he's one of the best superstars in the league. He is a superstar when he gets going. We just haven't seen that the first 2 years with LeBron yet, mostly because of injury.
Injury, yes.
All right, so let's move on just a little bit as we've been talking a lot of sports. So the people that's hanging in with us here, sorry if you don't like sports, but we're big NBA nerds. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Let's take a look. We also want to talk, and Joe, want to talk about DC just a little bit. And this is more going to be me ranting about some stuff. DC Comics is going to do another reboot. Now, this is their, I want to say, 7th reboot, if I'm not mistaken, since 1985, just to kind of counterbalance Marvel, and I'll be generous with one of them. Marvel's done it twice, 3 times with Spider. And if you count one day, if you count one more day with Spider-Man, I'll give them 3 because that pretty much rebooted Spider-Man to a whole different storyline. So three times. Marvel's been around since the '60s. Obviously DC's been around for a long time, but over the last 10 years, it's been kind of rapid succession of reboots. Started with Infinite Crisis, then you had Final Crisis, and then you had the New 52. Then you have Convergence, which wasn't necessarily a full wide universe reboot, but it rebooted a ton of characters as far as continuity. And then now you have this rebirth event that is going on as well. Just DC and the rumor has, and this is where probably the conversation will come in. DC can do whatever they want to with their characters, obviously. DC probably doesn't listen to this. If they do, maybe take a hint. They restart too much. They restart their continuity. They say we're going to get rid of all the baggage. And then they just don't reboot again. And then they go 4 or 5 years of stories, and then they reboot. They go 6-7 years and they reboot. And a lot of it's because, obviously comics thrive off of big events. And DC's been known to do more big events than Marvel as far as alternate, basically taking their universe and turning it upside down or recreating it. Marvel's done it 3 times. We talked about Brand New Day, Secret Wars, which was just recently, what was it, finished up 3 months ago. And then you had Heroes Reborn, which was back in the 90s. That's only 3 times that I can see as far as big sweeping changes to your universe and basically resetting things that Marvel's done. Now they've had some retcons here or there, and that's fine. You can retcon a character. If you don't know what a retcon is, it's like a retroactive continuity. Maybe write a story to take this one out, but it makes sense. They don't restart anything. They just write something to change something, not restart a character's whole history. The big thing about it, and this is the rumors that's been going around. I've read some that says, this isn't the case. This is the case. They're trying to line it up with what they're going to be doing in the movies. So they've basically done, as far as some of the characters involved, I think Green Lantern's involved. They're basically resetting him, going back to his classic traditional type way. They're starting out with all new number ones except for Action Comics and Detective Comics, which is up in the 900s. So they're pretty much starting all over again with their characters. And then the big rumor is that they're doing it because they want to match it up with the comics. Marvel's done a good job of not necessarily taking their comics and matching them up completely with what the movies do. The movie universe and the comic universe are very different in a lot of ways, but the core of the characters are still there. You don't see that. Marvel's done a lot of different stuff, like different teams and stuff. Deadpool's on the Avengers. You'll never see Deadpool on the movie Avengers. Stuff like that. Peter Parker's now a millionaire. You'll never see that in the Marvel cinematic. At least I don't think we will. So I think. What do you think about, and you read some comics, Joan, of course, you're my brother, so I tend to relay information to you and go on these rants to you mostly, you and Shauna, my wife. What do you think the comics have to line up? I mean, DC, if this is true, is going through yet another reboot just to match it up with the cinematic stuff, which from what I've read may not work. I mean, if Warner Brothers doesn't get the critical acclaim that Marvel gets, the rumor has it that they're going to do something else, which is part of Warner Brothers' problem. Do you think that they have to match up?
No.
Why? I don't think so either. But I'm just, I don't think they have to match up. I think you handicap your comic book writers with like, well, this has to match up, and stuff like that.
It takes away from the artists and the writers, and that's what I like about Marvel is I can get into a story, and then I can go watch a movie like say the Avengers. Right. And not have to worry about, ruining something if I'm reading a storyline.
Right. And with something with DC, it's almost getting ridiculous at this point. Like I said, DC, this is their list of, since 1986, they obviously did the awesome Crisis on Infinite Earths. Maybe probably I would say the first time a major publisher just went all new number ones and just, this is new, this is what we're doing now. 0 Hour in 1994, which got rid of a lot of the Silver or the Golden Age characters, Golden Age characters. Flashpoint, New 52. 0 Hour was in 94. You had Infinite Crisis in 2005. You had the New 52 in 2011. 2015, you had Convergence, and then Rebirth in 2016. So you're looking at, from obviously the big jump from 85 to 94, nothing really happened there. About 9 years of solid continuity. Then you go 6 years with Infinite Crisis from 05 to 11 with the New 52. And then Convergence was just last year, if I'm not mistaken. It was just last year, and now they're doing it again in 2016. So as far as I'm a huge, I love big events. I'm not a comic book fan that loathes big events. I do like, once the event is over, for them to play around with it for a couple of years before they do something drastic like this. But I do believe that I'm a big event guy. I love Secret Wars. I thought it was a great event by Marvel. I thought it was fun. I thought it was intriguing. I thought it was fun how some of the different alternate takes they took on characters. I think you can all do that and be really, really cool about it. The issue that I have is I don't think DC gives them enough time. And I've always said that they've got Batman and Superman. They have all these great writers. They just don't give them enough time to do anything. And they're always resetting kind of resetting the continuity. DC can do whatever they want to. And if they want more of that matchup with the comics, that's great. And obviously we'll get more information as it goes out. But I guess I'm just a little bit I haven't read DC in years because of this, because they keep switching everything. Our friend Josh from Drawing with the Delps was a big Batman fan, Snyder and Capullo. Which I need to catch up with. That's the only run I'm interested in is Batman. So I guess I just want to rant a little bit because, like I said, Joe's not a huge comic book as far as reading. But I just don't know. I don't know where DC's going with this. I think Marvel's whooping their butts. I think not only in comic books, Marvel's still having a lot of top 10 stuff. And I'm not saying they're whipping them completely in comics, but everywhere else, maybe besides TV, Marvel's whipping their butts. And I think they're trying so hard to get this cinematic universe up that I think they're trying too hard. They have some great characters. Let it happen naturally. Let the creators and filmmakers and all that good stuff happen naturally. Quit messing around with it so much.
Two things. One, DC did listen to the people. Mm-hmm. They're dropping the price of the weeklies down to $2.99.
They used to be $1.50.
Yeah, but I mean,
they $1.99.
They got up there in $4 range like Marvel is, which is way too much for a weekly comic book, in my opinion.
Well, that was monthly. I don't think Marvel did weekly prices like that, if I'm not mistaken. Although their monthly stuff and even DC's monthly stuff are like $3.99, and you have to drop it weekly because you're asking someone to spend $10 every 2 weeks. So I don't think that's. I don't think it's smart for them. It's still more of a price hike, but. The monthly books are still going to stay, $3.99 or whatever.
My second is I think they are panicking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Batman versus Superman is going to be a big blockbuster like they think it's going to be.
Well,
but the movie that's going to put them on the top, or not on the top, but is going to put them up there is the Suicide Squad.
I think Suicide Squad is going to be, from what I've read, this is going to be both of those are going to be blockbusters. They're going to make money off of these. I don't think that's the issue. I think when Superman came out, they made a ton of money off Superman. So it's not like Superman was a box office flop by any stretch, but it didn't get the acclaim that the Marvel films does. Marvel made a better film with Ant-Man than DC could do with Superman. Think about that for a second. The iconic superhero that basically created the whole superhero genre, the most recognizable logo in the history of comics, the most recognizable character in the history of comics, and Ant-Man is a better movie than Superman was. And I think, from what I understand, DC not only wants the money, but they want the acclaim. And if this movie flops as far as critics go, which, some people are still weary about as far as story-wise and characterizations and all that stuff, I don't know what they're going to do. They could make, $300 million off this film and scrap it because nobody thinks it's good. They're looking to do the Nolan Batman that got him, Oscar worthy as far as performance, and was taken as like serious, obviously a superhero movie, but really good filmmaking, and they want that too. And I just don't see that this movie is going to do it.
No.
Suicide Squad might, because Suicide Squad doesn't have to be a cinematic thriller, and it's going in the vein of, which at this point that movie should be rated R. I mean, I think that they had to do it over and saw how Deadpool performed. Or was going to perform, that movie would be rated R. But that's here nor there. That movie's going to be big for them because it's just different.
I watching the preview that came out for it, the very first one. Mm. That preview had the same effect on me that the Guardians of the Galaxy preview had. It got me hyped up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm hyped up for it. I mean, I'm not Gaga over Harley Quinn. I think I really like the animated version of Harley Quinn. I don't like this 1990s version of Harley Quinn. I know there's some people that really like it, and that's fine. That's your opinion, and I have mine. I do like someone like Katana. I think Katana's a great character. She was in Superman, Batman when Jeff Loeb was writing it, and it was a character I was like, oh, that's a cool look. That's not only a cool looking character, but a very intriguing character. And there's some characters in there that I really like, but and I like Deadshot. Deadshot's a good character, very conflicted character, but I don't know. I just don't see the issue that I have as far as the interconnected universe they're trying to do. I don't see the Justice League ever working with the Suicide Squad.
No,
it doesn't work. And I think you look at all the heroes that Marvel, minus the Punisher, which I don't think we'll ever see in the movies because they're kind of keeping that separate. And same for Daredevil. I just don't see. I see the Marvel heroes working together because of the type of heroes that they are. I just don't see and maybe it's going to take a great filmmaker to do it. I don't think Zack Snyder's a great filmmaker as far as, his movies look really cool and I'm a fan of how they look and they're dark and they're dreary and that's what they want. But I don't know if you're ever going to convince me that Batman will ever work with a murderous Deadshot. And maybe that's where the story comes in. It can make it interesting, but it's not going to feel organic. I really do feel it's going to feel like, hey, Batman would work with Deathshot because of this, and it's not going to make sense.
No, it's not. And that's them panicking. That's why they won't.
They're just panicking. No joke. I mean, they're seriously panicking on this, and I think they're hedging their bets and want to tie everything together. And Marvel's never done that. Marvel just reset their universe. I mean, you look at the movie versions versus what they've put on the page. And the new stuff is completely different. Like they're not doing the Avengers like the Avengers are in the movies. And I think that they understand that there is a movie audience and a comic book audience. And they have to keep both of them happy because the comic book audience is going to buy their books and go see the movies. The movie audience is just going to watch the movies. And they have to make them entertaining, and they don't necessarily have to make them together and make them seamless, both in publication and on the screen. I just don't know if Warner Brothers, again, probably overstepping their boundaries here. I don't know if the DC cinematic universe, because of how much rushing that they've done to it, I don't know if it's going to work.
I don't think.
Yeah, I hope it does.
Yeah, I hope it does. I mean, I like DC, but man, I don't know.
And like I said, I mean, I'm not a defeatist. I don't want. I'm not a. I prefer Marvel. I think I like Marvel's characters better. Besides Batman, I like some of the fringe DC characters. But for me personally, I just don't know. I just don't know what they're going to do. I want them both to be successful because I want superhero movies to last forever and get good superhero movies. But I just don't know if DC is capable. I don't know if Warner Brothers is capable of doing it.
I just want another Hellboy. And I know it's neither DC or Marvel, but give me another Hellboy.
Well, maybe. I know that Ron Perlman's all for it. I don't know if Del Toro would come down and do it, but yeah, I like Hellboy too. But I think that's it. I think that'll end this episode on the rant there. Joe, do you want to talk about the Grammys before we leave? Anything that kind of poked your...
Yep. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar got robbed. Taylor Swift, another one.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, I feel like I'm Kanye West right now. Even though, hey, man, Taylor Swift, that speech she gave when she did win, calling out Kanye like she did, that took some.
Yeah, that took some. Listen, if you listen to us or even maybe look on the blog when you're writing some of the posts, you'll find out Joe's a Kanye West fan. I'm not a Kanye West fan. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't even think his music is good as much as it was in the early days. Joe gives him a little bit more leeway. So this may be the last time Kanye's mentioned on this podcast, unless Joe kind of bullies it in.
Kanye. No, I mean, I think Kanye's gone absolutely crazy now.
It's the Kardashians, I'm telling you. It's not Kanye.
He's given up his throne to the rap game to Kendrick Lamar right now. Kendrick Lamar is top rap game right now. Best album in 10 years.
Wow,
Best
really?
Rap album. Yep. Another one is Megan Trainor winning Best New Artist of the Year.
I didn't actively watch the Grammys. I was in the other room working on episode 1 of this podcast, and I heard some of the nominees. I don't know half the people, but I knew Megan Trainor, and she had that one annoying song. I think everybody's heard it at least once. And when they announced her, I thought, really, that's the best new artist you got? The music industry's in trouble with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, but she's been around for a little while. She's not really a new artist. Courtney Barnett should have won that. She's probably the rightfully best new artist out there. And if you go in the same leeway, but people being around for a little while, Wolf Alice. I mean, they've had a few EPs. They drop a heck of a first album this year. Should have been on the list at least, if not the winner of the best new artist. Um, and like I said, best rap album, Kendrick Lamar kind of ran circles around everybody that was in that. I can't even tell you. I think the Compton album was on there, maybe for the movie, but still, Kendrick Lamar, "The Pimp a Butterfly" was or is the best rap album that has dropped in 10 years. If you haven't listened to it, the way he just mixed jazz and new age hip hop and poetry all together in one album, and the story in it, you can't. I mean, you can't beat it. Um, Now the performances, I've got four of the best and four of the worst. The best one to me was Chris Stapleton during his BB King. It's Chris Stapleton, Gary Clark Jr., and I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But doing a BB King tribute. And I think Chris Stapleton showed his pipes and showed why he's probably or has been one of the best performers that nobody's ever heard of until apparently this year.
Yeah, I heard that. That was really nice. Now, Chris Stapleton has one of the best pure country voices. I'm not talking about what's out there now. Kind of that like what you call an outlaw country type voice. Just the guy's got such a clean country sound to his voice. It's just nice. And I'm not a country fan, but man, when you listen to that, you can't help but have an appreciation for it.
If you like them, go listen to the Still Jabbers. That was one of the very first, well, that was one of the bigger bands that he was in. It's a bluegrass band that actually won Best New Bluegrass back in 2009. I remember driving up from Savannah, Johnson City, just to watch them play at the Down Home in Johnson City, Tennessee. Which when I saw it, I was amazed by the voice that came out of this guy. Another one, the second one was Kendrick Lamar's album, talking about making white people squirm in their seats.
His performance.
Yeah, the camera shots that were on him. I think everybody was a little bit uncomfortable during the performance, which it should have been that way. It was a great performance. It was a great message. But it was my second of the night. Third, The Weeknd. This guy killed it last year during the performance, and he killed it again this year. He opened up with the "Can't Feel My Face," and then ended it with let's see, what did he kill? He ended it with "In the Night." And the dude's voice, I'm not sure what's going on with the high falsetto voices right now because you can hear a lot of it. But I mean, dude has some pipes on him, and his album that came out last year was a great album as well. And then last but not least, you had Alabama Shakes.
I saw that one. Yeah, that was a good performance.
Yeah, Brittany Howard is gold. I love that girl. Brittany, if you listen to this, please hit me up. I love you. We can have a wonderful musical life together if you want. I'll run through the bad real quick because I know we need to end. But number one was the gosh awful performance by the Hollywood Vampires.
Oh, it was terrible. It was a train wreck. I couldn't look away.
Oh, Alice Cooper, he looks good for his age, and he still sings for his age. But what is Johnny Depp doing on guitar?
Johnny Depp is acting like a guitar player. Like, let's just be quite honest. Like, he could have won an Oscar. I mean, he just was, and that's what we was talking about. That's really the only performance that I actually actively, because I saw Dave Grohl on the screen, and I thought, well, this might be pretty good. And they come out, I'm like thinking, what is this garbage? Like, I can't, and I'm not, look, I'm a critic, you're a critic, and sometimes I'll give some leeway, especially somebody like Alice Cooper, who has been, as far as the music that we like, as far as my, metal and kind of alternative and stuff that I like to listen to, Alice Cooper played a lot into that as far as pioneering that kind of, I guess, darker tone sound, I guess, to a certain extent. That was terrible. Like, that was just, I can't explain. Go look it up on YouTube. It was just bad. Like, from the get-go, not even from, you couldn't understand a word he was saying. You had, who was the guitar player that they had, which is very established? Joe Perry was up there just killing it. And then he got over on the other side, Johnny Depp basically just, kind of strumming it, strumming his guitar ever so often, like doing this big kind of rock and roll strum. And that's all he did. I didn't see him do anything else the rest of the performance.
Where has all the rump gone? I think is what he said during the performance,
Yeah, it was
Captain Jack.
Yeah, really. I mean, you hit it around the head. It's like Captain Jack trying to play guitar or something. It was,
I mean, I know it was a tribute to Lemmy, but that was the worst Ace of Spades I've ever. Let Dave Grohl get a band together and put a tribute out to Lemmy. Don't ruin it like that.
Yeah, what's the point in having Dave Grohl at the Grammys and then turning around and doing a Ace of Spades cover without him involved? Like, it was just nonsensical to me. It's just like when they talked about streaming music and pretty much put Spotify on on blast. I mean, it's just really out of place and really kind of weird, and it just wasn't good. Like, I was hoping that would be really good in the performance of the night, but it was, because I'm a rock and roll fan, but it was just bad.
It was bad. Number 2 was the Beebs, and I think it's Diplo.
Did you say number 2?
Yeah, this is the worst.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The Beebs, Diplo, and Skrillex.
Wait. Let's go back. Say that one more time.
Beebs, and I think I pronounced this guy's name right. Diplo is another DJ artist, and Skrillex.
That by itself, I mean, you see that on, I mean, if you pull out your paper and you're at the Grammys, say we get invited to the Grammys, and when they give us the performance layout, we're like, oh, it's pretty, like, you just stop, right? Like, you go comatose for a second when you see that. Like, how does these guys get to perform on the Grammys?
Well, here's the thing. He had a really nice rendition of one of his songs. It was acoustic, and he was singing. I mean, the kid can sing. I give him that much. But then he has his band. I think it's a sad project with them. I'm not sure if it's just Diplo and Skrillex or Beebs in it as well. But it sounded horrible. It sounded like alley cats fighting each other. And then you have him white boy dancing around like Chris Martin did at the Super Bowl. And it was just bad.
I want to see that performance and the Alice Cooper performance. I want to see them all on the same stage at the same time.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. That would be like a nuclear attack on music, and you couldn't look away. Like, it'd blow your TV up.
It would burn down the whole place.
The Grammys would be canceled forever.
Yeah, anarchy. Number 3, and this is nothing against her. It wasn't her, but the Adele performance.
Yeah, they had some sound issues. And she still, the thing about it is, she still sounded amazing.
She still killed it.
Yeah, even without help from the technician. Apparently, someone said that a microphone in the piano fell. Is that right? Something around that nature?
I have no clue. I mean, it's probably some kind of excuse to say, hey, sorry, we screwed up right here. Let's blame the microphone in the piano.
Yeah, our audio technician is in a river now. Don't worry about it. We got rid of him.
He's got concrete blocks on his feet.
Yeah, there you go.
And number 4, the worst performance, was probably the last performance, which was Pitbull. Sofia Vargas, I think is that her name? Is that her name? Was that the girl that plays on what the Family? The
sitcom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Travis Barker was even there in that performance. And you're talking about people who have been washed up for some time. Pitbull, Travis Barker, and Sofia Vargas. Yeah.
Well, at least Sofia Vargas is funny. Like, she has something to fall back on, right?
She has some good looks, too. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. But, oh, yeah, that was bad. I mean, right in the Grammys, the night that's supposed to be best music was Pitbull.
Well, what do you expect from... I think it was last year that they cut away from Trent Reznor and Dave Grohl and pretty much that all-star alternative rock band that they put together. And they cut away from it. And they went away from it. Well, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. But I saw that ending performance. And usually the Grammys have this great, awesome ending performance. The last couple of years, the Grammys have really kind of stepped up as far as the last performances. they've been very good, kind of like this all-star cat collaboration, and either playing tribute or guys, the super band coming together and playing a song, whatever. It usually works out pretty well, whether it be hip hop or rock or pop, whatever. They tend to put on some pretty good last performance. I saw them, kind of plug it, and I thought near the end, and I thought, who came up with this idea? Like who? Like at this point, you're begging for the Black Eyed Peas. Because I mean, they would put on at least a better performance. These guys, their music sucks, but they at least put on better performance. I did none of those people. Like they throw in Travis Barker to be like, we got to get the tweens because Travis Barker's still cool. Yeah, it's fine. He's a heck of a drummer, but I don't understand like who in a boardroom came up with that. They should be fired. They should be just thrown in. They should be thrown in the same river that the mic technician, the sound technician guy got thrown in.
Order the thing that Pitbull was talking about and get him out of there, a taxi.
It was bad. Like there's just nothing about the Grammys this year that minus some of the, you talked about Chris Stapleton and the Alabama Shakes. And even the Kendrick, I mean, I don't know Kendrick Lamar very well. I thought the performance was great. I couldn't understand him. Like there was always something with the microphone that I could not understand. And I don't know if it's the tech or whatever, but usually at the Grammys, you can, even like fast rappers, you can understand. It's pretty crystal clear. I just couldn't hear him. Like I couldn't understand what he was saying. But other than that, it was a good performance. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah, and it done what it's supposed to do. It made people squirm.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's always that one performance. Everybody's like, "Oh, we forgot about Lady Gaga." Lady Gaga had a really good David Bowie tribute. Not too weird. It was just like obviously David Bowie could get weird. Yeah, without David Bowie. But I thought it was very classy. And I thought it was very well done. Even Shauna, who isn't obviously a huge David Bowie fan by any stretch, but has. We've all had our criticisms of Gaga as far as her antics, but that girl can sing. Who's having a better month than Lady Gaga? Like, so, killed it at the Super Bowl and then has a really good Grammy performance, a tribute to David Bowie. And she won didn't she win a Golden Globe, right? For the FX show? Yeah. Man, she's living it up right now. Yeah, most definitely. Who knew that she would go normal and be, I mean, come on. I mean, she went normal and got rid of all the theatrics, and she's more popular than she was when she was normal, when she was, showing up in, space pods and stuff.
But yeah, I mean, it was a decent show. Wasn't the best Grammys. I can't remember the best Grammys if I've ever seen a best Grammy. Another one is the Lionel Richie. Was it Selena Gomez that sang? I might get this wrong or Demi Lovato. I get them two mixed up.
Everybody does, I think.
But they had whichever one it was. I don't have it written down. I should have wrote it down. But she done a version of "Hello" by Lionel Richie because it was a whole tribute to him that kind of made my goosebumps a little bit the way she sang it. But
nice. I didn't see that one. I must have missed that one.
Yeah. But I didn't like the Eagles tribute.
I didn't hear that one either. Like I said, I was kind of in my own other world, but
which I'm not the biggest Eagles fan, but yeah, it was a decent show this year. I think the best one that I've seen, I think it was 2010. Was that the one we watched with had Bob Dylan, the Averets?
Yeah, that one was pretty good. Yeah, we watched that at our grandmother's, I believe. Yeah. That was pretty good. I admit that. But I think what makes the Grammys, you look up and down the list of performers, and especially you. I tend to lean more towards. You listen to pretty much anything. I lean more towards alternative rock and a lot of stuff. Obviously, we don't neither one of us listen to a lot of stuff that's on the radio, if anything. As far as our primary listening, but you more than anybody, you can look up and down, and I've learned from you some of the bands to kind of look forward to as far as you relaying. Hey, you really need to watch this performance, or you really need to listen to a song or this album. You can look up and down the list and be like, oh, the Alabama Shakes are going to kill it. Like, I know enough about them that, and you're a big fan of them, they're going to kill it. Chris Stapleton is going to kill it. Even Adele minus the microphone mishap or whatever it was. You look at her, you go, she's going to kill it. I think it's those performances that the Grammys lacked this year was the performances like, man, that Justin Bieber performance was halfway decent. Or, man, that Alice Cooper performance with Johnny Depp was. It's those performances that you don't expect to be good ended up being good. Yeah. And they didn't have that this year. They didn't have this, oh, man, that's going to be terrible. But then they spiced it up enough to be like, oh, it wasn't too bad. I didn't think it was, didn't make my ears bleed too bad. But they just didn't have that this year. I mean, they just didn't.
And I kind of feel the one big thing I couldn't help but laugh at was, Ed Sheeran won a Grammy finally.
Finally, right. And I like Ed Sheeran. I had no issue with him.
and he gave his little speech, and then the girl that or the woman that wrote the song with him was on start hers, and they started the Eagle tribute right over top of her speech.
I saw
And
that.
I felt so bad, but yeah, and I think it even got a few boos because of it. But yeah, it's kind of funny to a point too. But yeah, I felt kind of bad for her. Like you just wrote that song with Ed Sheeran and won a Grammy. And now they're not even going to let you speak
No,
for it.
let you speak, right? I did like the speech from that play, that one.
Hamlet, or not
Yeah, not
Hamlet,
Hamlet,
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah,
Yep.
really liked that guy's speech. I thought it was really unique. He was very
And
enthusiastic.
that
He was the one that I felt like was the most enthusiastic about. I mean, Taylor Swift was pretty enthusiastic about getting her second Grammy,
yeah,
um, as far as a female, I think she was the second female to win 2 album of the years. Right? Is
yeah,
that right?
yeah.
But he jumped up there and he's like a little ball of energy. And I was like, oh yeah, you go, dude. Like you just won a Grammy. You're part of the biggest place in forever. Apparently the hottest ticket on Broadway, and they're taking it around the country and everything. Man, that's awesome. Like just be super excited to be up there. And the little hip hop, little slam poetry thing he did or whatever was really cool. But yeah, I thought that was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, and that performance they gave was
Yeah,
awesome
that was
too.
awesome too. It made me want to
Uh,
go see it, but like tickets are like
but
$500 for them.
but that guy, the same guy you're talking about, he was on Jimmy Fallon a few months ago and done some freestyles, and the dude is legit. I mean,
Yeah, you
uh,
could tell. I mean, just from what he wrote on the piece of paper, I thought, man, this guy definitely got a good smooth kind of style to him. Like I would listen to a hip hop album with him.
yeah, you'll
I mean,
have
he was
to
really good.
maybe put the links or something down in the comment or in the little thing. Just find the Jimmy Fallon thing. Put it
Okay,
in there.
I'll try to put it in there then.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he and the guy from the Roots actually get into a rap battle with each other.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anything
So
with the Roots is like 20% cooler.
yeah, yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think that'll be it, man. Joe, hopefully we'll have a full crew soon. Jared was gone this weekend. He had he got out of town too, I think, which is awesome. And he should be back next week. Joe will be back next week. Andrew Foltz, a contributor to the blog, one of my buddies, hopefully will be here next week as well. And we'll have for the first time, a 4-man crew. So it should be pretty interesting as far as what we talk about and how that goes. But to the people that was trying to watch on Hangout, I think we got one viewer here that's still hanging with us. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. But we had some technical difficulties, so we had to do 2 streams. I didn't know when you stopped hanging out the first time, you had to go to do a new one. So I apologize for the guys hanging out on the stream. If you're listening to a podcast, you have no clue what I'm talking about. So everything went perfect. You should have been here. It was absolutely a perfect stream. But don't forget to visit the blog. Obviously, this is why we do this, monstersofgeek.com. Go check us out. We've got some posts going up next week. Go check out all of our cool, talented friends that I'm humbled would send us their talents to be posted on the site. So go check that out this week. Monstersofgeek.com. We are on iTunes. So if you're listening to this in podcast form, go check out iTunes and make sure you subscribe. We're also on Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker. Go check that out. Just type in Monsters of Geek and our homepage will pop up as well if you're not an iTunes guy or gal. Go like us on Twitter at Monsters of Geek and also Instagram under the same Monsters of Geek. But yeah, go check us out. Joe, you on Twitter?
Twitter, yeah. Yeti Mog, I do believe, is my Twitter handle.
Okay.
And I want to send a special thank you to Penny Pablo for writing a song about North Carolina.
Okay.
And once again, Brittany Howard, if you listen to this, I love you. We can have a sweet musical life together. Just look me up. I'm free.
I hear she's our like number 200,000 fan. So
That's
maybe.
all?
In other words, she doesn't know we exist, but that's okay. Check me out on Twitter. It's @Collier_MOG. Go check me out there and follow me if you want. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, go check us out, monstersofgeek.com. We'll have more content up. And this podcast is actually the live version of this podcast. You'll get to see part 2 of this where we messed up. Go check that out if you want to watch us kind of sit here and talk to each other. So
free Kesha.
yes. That's it. So for Joe, for our resident mythical snow creature, Yeti.
Hashtag free Kesha.
Yes, free cash. No, for real. Yeah,
Yeah,
we should have
yeah,
talked about that a little bit today.
yeah.
Yeah, go
Free
support
Kesha.
Kesha. That's terrible what they've done to her. Go check it out. But yeah, we're gone. So this is episode 2, and we're out.
Love you. Bye.